We are students in History 378, Slavery in the Place, the South Carolina Case, an immersion course where we first learned about slavery, then traveled to Charleston, South Carolina. During the course, we researched the sites prior to visiting the area. Our group focused on Charleston City Marketplace, Middleton Place, Magnolia Plantation, and McLeod Plantation.
Magnolia Plantation dates back to the 17th century on land originally inhabited by various tribes of Cusco Indians. Although it functioned primarily as a rice plantation, through Magnolia came the earliest known plantings of flowerdales and the introduction of azaleas and camellias into the New World. Unlike similar sites which focused on man's dominance over nature, Magnolia focused on its natural charm and beauty. However, like other plantations, man's inhumanity to man allowed Magnolia to sustain its glory. It was added to the National Register of Historic Places in December 1972 and currently consists of 70 acres. Its manor house was burned by Union troops during the Civil War. Since restored, 5 surviving slave houses had also been restored to different periods from the antebellum South to the cusp of the Civil Rights Movement. Currently, archaeological work is still in progress as slave life continues to evolve.
Okay, the thing that got me the most about Magnolia Plantation wasn't about the gardens. That was great. It wasn't about the house. It wasn't significant. It was built later on after emancipation. It was the fact that the history of slavery was so obscured. I mean, it wasn't even that it was obscured. They had tour guides that were giving out intellectually dishonest portrayals about slave life. They were using Little Black Sambo, they were using things about integration, they were using things about, I don't know, just a whole bunch of random and nonsensical things that may or may not have anything to do with slavery and may or may not have been factual. To me, I think that it was a complete disrespect to descendants of African slaves in the Low Country like myself, and an insult to the intelligence of everybody who spent their money trying to get an honest portrayal of what happened in South Carolina plantations.
The earliest records of Middleton Place go back to 1675. Sometime between 1699 and 1705, John Williams became the owner and began the construction of the house in 1705. In 1741, Henry Middleton acquired it when he married John's daughter, Mary Williams. This residential complex overlooks the Ashley River. Henry began to cultivate a garden modeled in European style. The garden is known for its beautiful azaleas, camellias, magnolias, and roses that cover the landscape. The garden was planted in such a way that there is something blooming year-round. The home is also a home for heritage breeds, such as cashmere goats, guinea pigs, and many other animals. Visiting Middleton Place really showed to me and just what and how intense the slave labor was. Looking at the quarter-acre of rice and seeing what a 12-year-old was responsible for, and actually putting my hands on the tools that were used to process the rice, and seeing the large animals and how much attention and time they required just put things in perspective. Oftentimes we're disconnected from the manual labor that it took to build the foundation of this country, and just being there on the ground where they were at and seeing the work that they did, the ponds that they built, the swamps that they cleared, the gardens, the flowers, everything. I couldn't imagine it being in those times, and the fact that this was the only tour that focused primarily on the contribution that the slaves made was really valuable to the experience, and Middleton Place definitely left an impression on me.
Then we drove to James Island to tour McLeod Plantation. This experience was unique and different from the other 2 plantations mentioned above. Although the plantation was temporarily closed to the public for renovation, our class got the chance to set foot on the property and listen to the director of Charleston's County Park and Recreation Commission, Tom O'Rourke. He gave a brief overview on the plantation's history, similar to the one that I gave in my presentation on the bus. The earliest known date of existence goes back to 1671, where Morgan Morris from Virginia was the first person to own the 617-acre land. The property once was one of the state's largest sea island cotton plantations. William McLeod, an island cotton planter, bought the property in 1851 and built the present plantation house. He was killed in 1864 during the Civil War. Charleston's County Park and Recreation Commission bought over the land in 2008. The company is currently stabilizing the structures while archaeological research is being conducted on the land.
The Charleston City Market was developed as an area for centralized trade for locals of the city. Located on Market Street between Meeting and East Bay Streets, the market was built on land donated by Charles Coatsworth Pickney, a wealthy Charlestonian. The design of the market is open-aired sheds. Construction began on them in 1790, and on August 1st of 1807, it was officially opened as the Center Market, with an ordinance from the city. At the time, the main things sold were fish, meat, vegetables, and other food products. It has survived fires, earthquakes, hurricanes, and bombardments. Though it has been commercialized, the market is still active today as one of the main tourist attractions of downtown Charleston.
Overall, our group learned so much during the trip, especially about Middleton Place, Magnolia Plantation, McLeod Plantation, and the Charleston City Market. The opportunity to research these sites ahead of time and then see them ourselves allowed us to be critical historians when we analyzed the way information was presented. We learned how location affected slavery, especially in South Carolina. Charleston was built with slave labor, and the historical preservation made it the ideal classroom to truly learn about the legacy of slavery.